What's up, YouTube? It's Josh coming at you with a video response to RODGY Retrogamer. He asked the other day, what do you collect other than video games and consoles? I collect a few things, so I figured this was a really good one I'd like to share with you guys. Stay tuned.
Skull, 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 skull.
So like a lot of you guys, I'm sure that you do not solely collect just video games. That's why I thought this community question was actually a really good question. It gives us all an opportunity to kind of get to know one another a little bit more, kind of the things that we may be into. And who knows, maybe you'll see something in somebody else's video where you're like, that's kind of neat. Maybe that's something that I would be interested in collecting too. So before we get started though, we're going to go with what we're drinking today, having a taste of. Today we have this beautiful Boddingtons Pub Ale, imported from Britain. So I'm sure a lot of you folks over there have had this before. This is not my first time having it. I have had it quite a few times. It's delicious. It's a delicious pale ale. I didn't think my cup was actually a pint, but it all just barely fit into there. If you have not ever tried this, if you're here stateside or somewhere else that isn't Britain, check it out. If you really like a nice, smooth, creamy flavor in a beer, this has a delicious, smooth, creamy flavor. It's very, very good. I believe it's kind of light as far as the alcohol by volume, as far as what most of the IPAs and stuff that I drink are. I think this is more like a 4.3 or 4.7 or something like that. So it's not bad, but man, it is delicious. Anyway, I wasted enough time telling you about this, but definitely check it out if you get a chance. I'll try not to take too long with this VR. There was probably even one or two other things I could have thrown in because I collect a few different things. Hard and heavy, probably mostly on the video games right now. But this is something that I collected within the last like 10 years or so that I've been slowly collecting some stuff. Not sure why I got into it. One of my wife's friends said it was an old man hobby. But whatever, I guess I'm an old man now. So one of the other things I collect is US coins and currency. So this is only a small piece of what I'm going to show you of what I actually have in my collection, but this is an entire set of peace dollars going from 1921, I think it was 1935 was the last year that they made them. Sorry for the lighting if it's really bad, but a few of them in there are really nice shape. I'm not a rich man, so I by no means can afford the primo stuff, but it's pretty cool. I do have a complete set of them. This was one of my favorite ones to collect the set for. Probably my most favorite thing when it comes to collecting coins and currency. And just in case to give you guys a little lesson on what this hobby is actually called, it's called numismatics. Big long name, but whatever. It's cool. I thought it was cool, but I'm an old man, so. This is a set of what they call horse blanket. They were the oversized, large paper currency that they made a century or two ago. It's pretty neat. Very cool. I love the variety of the designs. You can see they put a lot of really cool looking designs on the front and the back of these things. And maybe I'll do some B-roll of this stuff to add into it so you can get a better look at these, because they really are works of art. The old money that they made years ago, definitely very neat looking compared to just the drab old greenbacks that we have nowadays here in the States. Some of the better stuff that I have towards the back, different things. I got them all put in different monetary order. Anyways, that's the first thing that I collect other than video games and stuff, when I can afford it, because at times this can be a rather expensive hobby as well. So the other thing that I collect, and I kind of haven't really collected it, I started getting back into it now recently, but this was something that I collected years ago when I was a kid, when I was probably in my teens, probably. I would say my early to mid-teens. It is comic books. Now, this is just one long box. I actually have, I've got about 4 times as many comic books as this, but I went pretty hard on these things when I was a kid. I would, when I got my first official full-time job, you know, a kind of job that they actually take taxes out on, when I'd get my check and I'd cash my check, my parents really weren't like strict with me about it. I worked for the money, so they didn't care what I did with it. I typically would run over to the shopping mall, which are virtually all disappeared nowadays around here. Amazon has put them out of business. But back then, in those days, everything was at the mall. They had an arcade. They had a nice food court. They had this cool shop in there. It was called Tees, etc., where they had a ton of different T-shirts you could buy for rock bands or any kind of interest that you had for T-shirts. But they also sold comic books. So I was big into the comic books. I would go to the shop. I would browse through the T-shirts and stuff, see if there was something I wanted. But I would go through and I would say, hey, what do you guys got coming out? And they had like a list. They would say, here's what we have coming in for the next week or for the next 2 weeks or month or whatever it was. And you could check it off like a little checklist and order the books that you wanted. So obviously, I was a big follower of certain books, like the X-Men. A lot of people love the X-Men. I loved the X-Men as a kid. Probably, I don't think this is the box, but I probably have one, maybe 2 long boxes that are full of nothing but X-Men comics from the 80s and 90s. This one here, I know has a lot of Ghost Rider stuff in it. And so you can see this was like a 3-pack, I think, of books, 3 or 4. It's 3 of them in here. It's got Ghost Rider. The first one on the outside's got the Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Punisher, Hearts of Darkness. Never opened this up. It's still sealed in this plastic clamshell. And then Wolverine number 100's on the back. And I couldn't tell you what the third book is in the middle because, like I said, I've never opened it before. It's still got the price tag. I paid $7.76 from it from Walmart when it came out, however many years ago that it came out. In this box, though, there's some pretty decent stuff. I was just browsing through it. I couldn't grab them all and bring them over here in front of the camera. I guess I could have took the camera to them, but then I had to pull them all out of storage and stuff like that. It's got a reasonable variety in here of different stuff like Superman's and... Let's see. Superman's, Batman's. The coolest thing that I saw in here, of course, well, Ghost Rider's cool. I mean, come on. I know these are probably, most of these are probably not worth much money from these early 90s because they printed so many books back in the day of these things, but I love some Ghost Rider. I got probably of this set, probably the first at least 20, 25 of the books or so. Maybe more than that. This is probably actually one of the most valuable books that I have in my collection from years ago. I did not pay that much money for it, but at that point in time, but I think it's worth a reasonable amount now, but I'm not interested in selling it or anything. But The Amazing Spider-Man here, the first appearance of the Punisher. Unfortunately, that's probably the reason why I didn't pay a lot for it at the time, but it's got a little bit where somebody wrote some stuff on the cover, but still, this is a pretty valuable book, I think, even in the condition that it's in. Very cool. I got a lot of them that are kind of older books like that. That's number 129. This is another one that is kind of like a sought after book too, because I think it was the last appearance of the last appearance of the Venom costume, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 300. The last appearance of it that Spider-Man actually wore it before it became its own. I forget the guy's name that wears it after Spider-Man, but before it became Venom. And then moving on to some of those other books. But this is definitely something that I've recently started picking a few more up again. I'm not like massively back into it again, but definitely some cool memories with this stuff. And I thought it would be cool to share with you guys. So those are 2 of the things that I collect outside of video games. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you get a chance, please drop me some comments. If there's any books that I should be looking for now, newer stuff that maybe is cool that would be cool to read through, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Drop me a like, a subscribe if you haven't. Check out Boddingtons Pub Ale. It's delicious. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.